love to all the Akim, continue to preach the truth and all truth and sincerity. All right, real quick. So, little bit of a recent thing. Prophecy, as prophecy goes, or part of a prophecy. You had a GOP congressman's town hall, and it was a Republicans congressman, and he goes by the name of Chuck Edwards. Now, this is from the Business Insider. So, they had a town hall meeting a couple days ago, and basically, people were in a frenzy. People basically were expressing their they were expressing their dissatisfaction. They were expressing their basically they were expressing their how they feel about what's going on as far as with the Elon Musk Doge cuts, all the government cutting, spending, and all that, man, because people are losing their jobs. And in one of the instances, I think I put two videos. I put one of the videos I caught from another angle, and then there was another video that had a longer version that I got from a brother on TikTok. And basically it was the guy Chuck Edwards was talking to the crowd, and basically they were just letting them have it, man. They were not feeling what was going on, and they were expressing expressing how they felt, how upset they were. Now, in one of the instances, this Chuck Edwards, they said that the Republican Party told him not to have an in-person town hall meeting. I wonder why. Because why? They know that it was going to be some the shit that went down. They knew it was going to go just like that. So I got some scriptures. So I'm going to go in the book of 2 Esdras, the 15th chapter. But first, I'm going to get into this article about. I put the video in my YouTube or shorts or whatever, and it basically shows it's footage of the actual meeting. And it was Edomite too, and North Carolina North Carolina is a state that Trump won. All right, and it's been a red state for the last few years or last few elections. So they voted for Trump, and this is what they wanted. And now I guess what they thought was going to happen is not happening for them. But that's part of this prophecy. Satan's house divided, how shall it stand? Egyptian against Egyptian. Babylon is fallen. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. And that's what you're seeing right now. You're seeing that these Edomites, these American Edomites, they're seeing their kingdom go down, and that their leaders are not doing anything about it. But there's nothing they can do about it, man. There's nothing Donald Trump could do. There's nothing Elon Musk could do. Nothing that Chuck Edwards could do. There's nothing that none of these guys could do, guys or women, that could do to get America out of the rut it's about to get into. Remember, this is the beginning of sorrows. The actual judgment for America has not yet come, but the Lord is basically imploding this place right now. But so this is from the Business Insider. It says, I went to a GOP congressman's town hall. The rage over Doge is a force to be reckoned with. Okay, so it says, North Carolina Republican Chuck Edwards surely knew this was going to happen. So they knew this was going to happen. It says constituents rage at the congressman about Doge hardly letting him get a word in. See, and that goes into the scriptures. They should not regard their king nor their princes. They don't want to hear what you have to say, because the actions that's taking place, they're not feeling. All right. It says, I feel like this is not productive with anybody yelling at me. The congressman told the combustible crowd of constituents on Thursday night, 34 minutes into his first town hall of the year. So this is his first town hall of the year. Well, let's see what the word combustible means. What is that the word? Combustible. Gotta be quick because my phone about to die. And my tablet. Hold up. Fuck. Combustible. Oh! That's the spirit. The word combustible, I went to the etymology online. It says combustible means, it's an adjective, so it means capable of burning. And what's the judgment coming to America? An intense burning, man. Those nuclear fires, nuclear missiles, that's coming to America, and it's going to be burning. America is going to burn, and America is burning right now spiritually. All right, because everything. Remember, these was all I saw nothing but Edomites really at this town hall meeting in North Carolina, which is a couple days ago. So it says from the late Latin combustibilis, it says for past participle, it says to burn up, consume. And what is our God? A consuming fire. You see that? And that's interesting that they use that word, that choice of word. But let's get back to the article. So it says, I'm gonna read this again. So this is Chuck Edwards says, I feel like this is not productive with everybody yelling at me. So these are all his constituents. It says the congressman told the combustible crowd of constituents on Thursday. So this is past Thursday. So it's what? It's Monday now. So it's like what, 3 or 4 days ago. It says 34 minutes into his first town hall of the year. It says a bespectacled, mild-mannered backbench Republican with a prominent comb-over and a thick goatee, Edwards struggled to speak over the noise. Every few minutes, he was drowned out by a cacophony of booing, jeering, and heckling. Remember, he would be considered, he could fall into the line of, they should not guard their kings nor their princes, because he's a person that then when they have these town hall meetings and they have these meetings, these are the people that's supposed to be their spokespersons for the actual government. Their state congressmen and all that. These are the people that are on the state's behalf to the government. All right? It says the crowd, it seemed, only wanted to talk about one thing, Doge, which is what Elon, the whole thing, what is that, the Department of Government Efficiency, I believe it stands for. And that's the new thing that what Elon Musk and Trump got going on. All right? It says, like him or not, Elon Musk has brought a lot of really smart people in, Edwards said. He was drowned out by booze. Drowned out by booze. It says Doge has become the dominant storyline of Donald Trump's second presidency, as thousands of federal jobs disappear, billions of dollars in funding remain frozen, and Elon Musk's influence continues to rise. Americans' anger has bubbled over in town hall after town hall. Americans' anger has bubbled over in town hall after town hall. So this is Chuck Edwards' first town hall, but this is not the first town hall of the year. Because remember, it's March. So all these town hall meetings, since all the stuff with the government cuts, probably since whenever the first one was, probably January, February, well, late January, February, or early February. Because we only in March, it's March 17th, so we're midway through March. And you already have American citizens already fuming and upset about how the administration is doing things. So call lawyer YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI for that. It says Edwards' Thursday night debacle was the latest example. Around 300 people, many of whom looked to be in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, packed into the modest community college auditorium in Asheville, a city of roughly 95,000 in a western pocket of the state. Another 1,000 people were milling around outside, holding Ukrainian flags and signs denouncing Elon Musk and his job slashing, budget shrinking initiative, drug test must read one. It says, over the course of 89 minutes, with dozens of reporters and at least 10 news cameras on hand, Edwards' chaotic town hall plodded along. It says a self-described veteran was dragged out by police after screaming that Edwards didn't give a shit about him or other veterans. Audience members shushed one another, unable to collectively decide whether they wanted to actually hear from the congressman or just scream in his face. A man yelled about why a non-elected person, apparently referring to Musk, was running our government. One thing was clear, the first storm over Doge isn't dying down anytime soon. Matter of fact, so let me get a scripture real quick. So basically, you hear the people of Asheville or North Carolina, the disdain they have for Elon Musk and what they're doing as far as with these government job cuts. Was it 12? I think it was verse 12. Matter of fact, I was going to start at verse 12, but I'm going to start at verse 11. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, verse 11. It says, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and stretched out arm and smite Egypt with plagues as before and will destroy all the land thereof. Now, this present-day Egypt is America. Because even when you go into Revelation 11, I believe 11 and 14, I want to say, it talks about how that city that's spiritually Sodom and Egypt. Spiritually Sodom and Egypt. And look what America's been pushing for the last few years. All this Mo shit. All this mo shit. Yeah, so it says, so it says he will bring them again. Who? The Israelites, the children of Jacob, out of this president Egypt, because what? Egypt stands for bondage. So this Egypt, we're seeing the plagues the Lord is laying upon Egypt. What with these job cuts that were in this article, the violence, the MOTB, the beast system, Satan's house divided. You have all these things happening. These are the things that the Lord said he was going to lay upon this land, which is spiritually Sodom and Egypt, which is the daughter of Babylon, also Babylon the Great, America. And look what's happening. Those are all Edomites, and it said they were in their 50s, 60s, and 70s. All right. 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 12. Now it says, Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI shall bring upon it. The punishment. What is the punishment? Why is this place being punished? First and foremost, for what they did to the children of Israel, what they did to the children of Judah, what they did to the children of Israel, children of Jerusalem, the northern tribes and the southern tribes, and what they're still doing. That's why the Lord, as simultaneously as these devils' wrath continue to get more, the cruel wrath continues, but also the judgment to him continues as well. It says, verse 13, it says, they that till the ground shall mourn, for the seed shall fail through the blasting in hell, and with the fearful consolation. Because what? That goes into the grinding, man. That goes into the works. It says the tillers, it says, they that till the ground shall mourn. Because actually, I remember you had some, with the chick, they were cattle farmers, and they said that after the whole thing with the deportation thing, they said that then they lost 70% of their workforce because 70% of their workforce was so-called illegal aliens, illegal immigrants, and they stopped coming into work. And that was just one state. That was in Arkansas, but you had it happen throughout the whole country, man. They're scared of getting deported, so they stopped coming into work. That's why they're mourning. And it says, the bitch even said that, the Edomite chick even said that we voted for our own demise, because now they said in a few months they're going to be bankrupt if it continues like this. And that's just one of the many things that the Lord is bringing upon this place, man. That's how we know that we close to the actual end. Those missiles coming. You got North Korea, you got all these countries getting ready for nuclear war, including America. It's close, man. So each day that passes, we're getting closer. But I'm continuing on. The Lord says in 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 14, it says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. This world, though, this current world, Esau's kingdom. Because even in 2nd Ezra, the same book, the second Ezra, the same book, and 6th chapter says what? Esau, the end of the world, and Jacob, the beginning of it that followeth. So now you have in these town hall meetings, you have what? You have Esau in the uproar. And that's what the scripture even said was going to happen. And continuing on, well, it says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Now, continuing on in 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 15. It says, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. Their destruction draweth nigh. Everything that the core of what Esau, I'm talking about these regular Edomites, not the elite, the regular Edomites, the core of what America was for them, they see it depleting. The guy, the congressman, even Chuck Edwards, he had said that no matter what the information we got, there had not been any losses. And then the Edomite jumped up and said, I got fired. He said, I got fired. So I ain't gonna talk about no losses. And these are just federal workers. These are federal government workers. And I'm thinking like veterans and shit like that. So, this is how the Lord said, what? I should make you desolate and bare. The daughter of Babylon. So continuing on. It says, for the sword and the destruction draw nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Now that's ultimately talking about like all this world war chaos. But even within America, it says what? One people shall stand up and fight against another. Aren't you gonna have Edomites fighting against Israelites? You have Edomites fighting against Israelites, man. You have these other nations. It's a bunch of chaos everywhere, man. That's how we know that these scriptures are faithful and true, because everything that's happening right now was written in the scriptures. Esdras is way before America. Esdras wasn't around for Esau ruling. Esdras was put onto future prophecies, man. This is a future prophecy, and the future for back then is the time we're in now. Oops. It says, continuing on, it says, 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 16, it says, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, man. That's what you have right now in the Senate meeting, or the Congress meeting, town hall meeting with the Congressman Chuck Edwards and all the other ones, man. You have the American citizens, mainly a lot of Edomites, expressing their disdain for what's going on right now. You got people losing their jobs left and right. So let me go back to the article. So you see how it said, hold up. See how I said it should be a sedition among men, right? Let's see what sedition is. I'm going to go to the etymology real quick, not keep it simple. And when you go into the word sedition, it says rebellion, uprising, revolt, factitious commotion in the state. It says concerted attempt to overthrow civil authority. What? Well, I don't know how the Lord is going to have it to where when that comes about, but you're going to have it to where it's going to be what government against the people, man. The people against the government. And that's what it says, sedition among men. So all this is what it says. This is in the etymology: rebellion, uprising, revolt, factitious commotion in the state, concerted attempt to overthrow civil authority, violent strife between factions, civil or religious disorder, riot, rebelliousness against authority. Rebelliousness against authority. That's what's happening right now. The dude said, yo, they were yelling at him the whole time. They say damn they couldn't get a word out. So it says Edwards is no bomb thrower. He was elected into Congress in 2022 after defeating Republican Madison Cawthorn, who once accused his colleagues of taking part in debaucherous cocaine-fueled orgies. And it says Edwards' campaign, by contrast, promised to skip the grandstanding. It says, in other words, he didn't exactly match his constituents' energy on Thursday night, nor did he seem to be able to read the room. And that's probably why you had them Republicans tell him to not have that town hall meeting in person. It said the congressman was once asked to list 5 things you've done this week to protect democracy, a wink in reference to a Doge email asking federal employees to list their accomplishments. And that was the email that they got saying that they have to list their accomplishments and like basically their production for the week. It says coming up with 5 things is not real difficult, the congressman said. After naming just 3, he says attending a classified briefing, voting to pass a government funding bill, and informing the media that he would be holding Thursday's town hall. Asked if he would follow Doge's lead and cut 25% of his staff, Edwards walked back toward the podium. He had some notes to read from, looking for what Trump told you. He said, somebody says, looking for what Trump told you to say, and audience members jeered. Edwards began writing off a list of grants and contracts that Doge claimed it had canceled. It says we found a $10 million grant in a small country in Africa for voluntary medical male circumcision. Edwards said the crowd only grew angrier. What the fuck does that have to do with anything, man? He says we found a $10 million grant in a small country in Africa for voluntary medical male circumcision. Edwards said the crowd only grew angrier. It says, I almost think he enjoys this shit. Martin Downey, one of the 300 attendees, told me later that night. I think he's a little bit sadistic. Oh, look at this picture. Oh, that's a picture from the meeting. Real spicy in there. It says Downey, 57, is one of thousands of federal workers who have been caught in Doge's crosshairs. After 30 years of Army service that he said took him to Kosovo, Iraq, Afghanistan, Belgium, and the Pentagon, he moved with his wife to nearby Waynesville in 2020. Last year, he started a public affairs job at the U.S. Department of Agriculture. I was a remote worker, he said. That was my first sin. It said, then came the email that thousands of other probationary employees received in February. Downey was being terminated for poor performance, despite previously receiving exemplary reports. That's it. The end. Fuck you. Thank you for your service, Downey said, recalling the email. It says, even as those firings are being challenged, Downey said he has no desire to return. Am I going to work for people who think and act like that? He's talking about his own government. Remember, these are federal government employees. It says, I asked him what he planned to do next. Well, I'm going to start probably crystal meth, he said. His wife made clear that he was joking. Maybe he started a small business, he said. What the hell, you know? There's no jobs locally down, he said. The job market is now flooded with recently fired people. The job now is flooded with recently fired people. The grinding shall hold up. On the blue letter. Oops. Oh shit. Okay. So there's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, verse 4, and it says, I'm getting right to the point, because he said it's a job market is full with recently fired people. It says, Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, verse 4 in the NLT. It says, remember him before the door to life's opportunities is closed and the sound of work fades. Now you rise at the first chirping of the birds, but then all their sounds will grow faint. But think about that, though. In the NLT of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, verse 4, it says, remember him, talk about the Lord. It says, remember him before the door to life's opportunities is closed and the sound of work fades. The door to life's opportunities closed. What he just said, this Downey guy, he said, so it says, I'm going to read that line again. So it says, they asked this guy Downey, it says, I asked him what he planned to do next. He says, well, I'm going to start probably crystal meth. He said, his wife made clear that he was joking, but maybe he ain't joking. Maybe he might start doing drugs. Maybe he might do it. They get fucked up. And if they say he don't start doing crystal meth, he definitely going to start maybe drinking a little more. But anyway, he says, it says maybe he started a small business. He said, what the hell, you know? There's no jobs locally down, he said. The job market is now flooded with recently fired people. The door to life's opportunities are closed and the sound of work fades. It says now we go into it says Doge's trickle-down effects. It says some of the crowd's Doge-related concerns were broad. Job cuts at the Education Department and the Department of Veterans Affairs. The access Musk and his minions have to the Treasury Department's databases. It says others raised concerns specific to Asheville and Western North Carolina, suggesting that Doge's federal bushwhacking is already being felt downstream. Potential cuts at the Charles George Department of Veterans Affairs Medical Center. The future of the Beach Valley Federal Building in downtown Asheville, the nearby Great Smoky Mountains National Park, and the Blue Ridge Parkway. It says the crowd's biggest enduring worry was Hurricane Helene. Nearly 6 months after the storm devastated the city, Asheville is still visibly reeling from the damage. Gutted commercial buildings dot the city streets, and broken, mangled trees still line the highways leading in and out of town. Oh yeah, so that's where that hurricane happened. Where during the whole like with the funding where the Biden administration was giving small heads a bunch of money, and then this hurricane hit and they didn't give them no assistance. It said that debris could supercharge future wildfires. One attendee asked Edwards whether recently fired U.S. Forest Service employees will be rehired. The answer to that is yes, Edwards replied, referencing recent court rulings requiring the reinstatement of probationary employees. Roughly 7,700 federal workers live in Edwards district, according to the Congressional Research Service. It said, to be clear, I deeply value the contributions that federal employees make every day to keep America running and to deliver important services, Edwards said. For example, folks at the National Weather Service office. We're fired, one woman interjected. It says, threatened by my own government now. That's the caption. Oh, threatened by my own government. It says, if top Republicans had their way, Edwards' town hall footage of which spread rapidly on social media never would have happened. Last week, House Speaker Mike Johnson said that Paid protesters were swamping town halls, warning his members not to play into liberal efforts to generate sound bites. Instead, Johnson suggested lawmakers should stick to telephone town halls or smaller, more choreographed engagements. So they mean they don't want him in person. It says Edwards is one of few Republicans who decided to ignore that advice. I can make up my own mind, he told me at the Capitol a week before the town hall. One of my favorite activities serving in Congress is to be among the people that I represent and hearing their voices if they might disagree. It says there's little question that events like this are attracting left-leaning attendees, though there's no evidence they're getting paid to be there. But the fact that they're showing up in droves could be indicative of electoral consequences down the road. Cheryl Harengo, a 72-year-old retired healthcare professional affiliated with the progressive group Move On, told me in a phone call on Wednesday that she and other activists were helping to bring as many people as possible to the town hall. I think it's the shock and awe. People are just in total disbelief that they are basically tearing apart our democracy, Arengo said. They're tearing apart our democracy. Egyptian against Egyptian. Saints house divided. These are Edomites. It says, but others like Downey aren't necessarily on the left end of the political spectrum. He's a registered independent who served under presidents of both parties during his time in the army. Because that's you have a lot going on too. You have a lot of people going independent because they're not rocking with the Democrats nor the Republicans. But you still have a lot of people that are Republicans, and like Trump won a lot of the states. North Carolina being one of them. So this is the administration that they voted for. They thought Biden was bad. Look what, bro. That's why the Lord said what? There should be sedition among men. People against authority. Sedition among men. Uproars. People going against authority. People going against their government. It says, I've never ever been political. My whole life I've been completely independent, Downey told me. But this is just beyond the pale. I've never seen anything like it. All my life I've never felt threatened by my own government and deliberately targeted. It says now he's finding himself screaming at his own congressman. So this guy probably never had no issues like this before. It says now he's finding himself screaming at his own congressman. Sedition among men. The people going against the authority. It says Edwards was unfazed Thursday's night chaos. He told reporters after it was all over, doesn't change my plans at all to hold more town halls in the future. Man, who gives a fuck? And this is going to get worse because you're just going to be the fucking blame that you're going to be the fall guy that the government sends to hear the people's belly aching. Cause that's all they're there for. He ain't gonna convince the president or Elon Musk to change their mind and change what they remember. And this is all from the elites. This is coming from the elite Edomites. That's why I say Saints house divided, how shall it stand? You have Edomites that they're doing stuff to their own Edomite citizens in Babylon. Oops. So I'm reading that again. So this is 2nd Esdras chapter 15, verse 16. It says, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. And that's what you have right now. The dude said, now I find myself yelling at my own congressman. Probably something he never thought he would ever be doing. Never thought he had a need to do. But just like that. And you see how the Lord, just like that. That's what the Lord said. What? In verse, was that verse, where is it at? Oh, that's verse 15. It says, 2nd Esdras chapter 15, verse 15, it says, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh. So what? Talk about America, Egypt. Because the present day Egypt is America. The present day bondage that Israel's in is Egypt. So the present day captivity that the Lord is going to deliver Israel out of is in America. And Esau's captivity is at that. Because not just America, throughout the four corners of the earth. Because Esau has domain over the whole earth. Job 9:24. So you see that what the Lord is doing to this devil's kingdom and how this devil's coming down with the cruel wrath, because what he knows he had but a short time. So as days goes on, his time is getting shorter. And now you got these regular Joe Schmo Edomites that are like, yeah, what the fuck is going on? How you gonna just do us like this? But there you go. There you go. He said the sword and destruction draweth nigh. And ultimately, That nuclear destruction is going to come to America. It says, verse 17, 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 17, and it says, excuse me, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. You gonna have that going on a lot. The curfews. They might do another lockdown. They talk about doing maybe another lockdown, another emic. Yeah, but hey, man, the whole thing with these planes crashing. Hey, you gonna have martial law coming soon enough. The universal basic income, curfews, all that. You gonna have all that. He gonna bring all of that. That's the beast system. That's his cruel wrath. But continuing on, it says, 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 18, it says, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. Because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. Esau's been in pride for a very long time. You heard what the guy Downey said. He said, basically said, I never would have thought I would be yelling at my own congressman. Never thought my own government would be against me. And it's only gonna get worse. It's not gonna get better. It's only gonna get worse because they talk about. Remember, Elon Musk said what? Getting rid of 80% of the workforce, and they're introducing a universal basic income. So they starting that right now. They're chopping away, and they start at their own federal government, and it's gonna trickle down to all these other things. You got all these businesses closing. You got a brother posting in the group chat. Forever 21 just said they're gonna close all their stores in the U.S. I believe. You got Dollar General experiencing it. You got Dollar General going through it. Walgreens. You got like, it's like, I think they said 100 retailers are laying off thousands of people, are laying off people. So you already see what time it is. So I'm reading on. So in 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 18, it says, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Men shall be afraid. And remember, this is the beginning of sorrows, man. Wait till the food supply runs low. Wait till the water supply runs low. Wait till all that happens, man. Oh, hell, shit. Fuck. Wait till the prices skyrocket. Because all these tariffs Trump talk about doing, the price is going to skyrocket, man. And it's coming soon. They said, what, the tariffs going to start, April 2nd for some of them? Which is in a week or two? And I bet that he said that some tariffs already enacted, but I know for Canada and Mexico, he said the tariffs are going to start in April 2nd, but I don't know how much. I don't know what tariffs are actually starting now, but Trump talking about tariffing even NATO countries. So you already see what time that America, Trump, what have you is on. The daughter of Babylon is on. Verse 19, it says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread. And for the great tribulation, that's what's coming right now. Great tribulation, lack of bread. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, man. You're going to have people run up in each other's houses, man. The haves and the haves not. You have these Jakes going up in the Suburbans. You have these poor Edomites going into the rich neighborhoods, man. You're going to have a bunch of chaos, man. In the cities, man. But especially in the Jake neighborhoods, man. But all of America, man. Remember, this is for the whole land. He said that all of Egypt shall mourn. This is the whole land of Egypt. Babylon the Great. It said Babylon the Great is fallen. Not pieces. The whole whore. The whole head is, the whole shit is sick. And this goes into a lot. It goes into things with Jake and other nations, but like that was pretty much one that would bring out as far as like the sedition among men, the destruction, the sword draw nigh. This is, remember, it's March 17th, 2025. Tomorrow's gonna be March 18th, 2025. Then who knows what's going? Remember, it's about a day now, man. It's like a great ass soap opera, great movie. Every day you always wonder what's gonna happen. What's gonna happen the next day? That's what prophecy is about. What the Lord has it happening so quickly. It's like, damn, what's gonna happen tomorrow? Shit, what's gonna happen later today? It's only 5 o'clock in the evening, man. So which means it's midnight over there right now. Yeah, they're 7 hours ahead. So yeah, it's midnight over there in the east. So who knows what's happening right now? Quick side note. You had the French talk about they want the Statue of Liberty back. That's why the Lord said Babylon the Great is fallen. It is fallen, man. When all this stuff was happening within Egypt, which is the city spiritual Sodom in Egypt, he said, no, that's the day. The day is nigh. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. They ain't gonna come out from this, man. It's only gonna get worse and worse until this place is no more. So, with that, Lord, whether this is edifying, I'm gonna give all praises to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHIRU KAKADASH. Double honors to the apostles of Israel, aka the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and love to all the Akim. Continue to preach the truth and all truth and sincerity. Shalom.